Prem Kumar. Thanks a lot for joining in, and lovely to have you as a guest, and looking forward to a brilliant conversation with the kind of work that you seem to be doing. Thanks a lot for spending time and talking to us.
Thank you, Swami. First of all, thank you so much, and for this opportunity and the kind of variety of podcast you do. Very, very interesting, and thank you so much for inviting me here. A privilege to be with ContraMinds podcast. So very happy. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Prem Kumar. So first, I wanted to talk to you about. So, what's your background, Prem Kumar? So, where did you start your life? I know you're doing something transformational, but what's your background? What's your backstory?
Sure, thank you. So I hail from Trichy, and after all my schooling, I joined PhD Tech in 94 to 98, did my production engineering. After that, again, I ventured a couple of companies, getting experience into IT. Then I felt probably there's something else is calling me. I got on to do my MBA from Bhadas Institute of Management from 2002 to 2004. After that, I went back to IT and have been working with TCS and HCL. Overall, 19 years of experience I've got. So working in IT. So that is how journey has been, and with a kind of the kind of variety of experiences what I had working in India, and then I moved to UK for 3 years. Then again from 2013 to 17, I have been working in Germany. Then I've been working with US customers. I've been working with Chinese customers, traveling to Singapore. So I think all those gave brilliant experiences all these years. That is how in short about my background.
So what's your family background? So where did this all start? Yes, this is all education. We know all this is there, but tell me a little bit about your early life, your parents. Where did you grow up? So what was
Sure.
it like?
Yeah. Schooling, yes, I think completely. I'm born and brought up in Trichy, Tier 2 city in Tamil Nadu. So my father was a assistant public prosecutor, so into law, and my mother is a government school teacher. So very, very simple life, and I think some of those very important basics. Even now I remember as well. My dad used to be very, very straight and very honest, and very, very simple life. And I think that is one very important learning what I got from my dad. He's no more now. Always when you could have earned more or financially be better and all that. My father used to be still very humble, simple life, and all along. So when I look back, I think those the honesty, what he had been working in government offices, things like that, has been one very important thing I've learned over years, and what he has given me, I think. And my mom, she used to be a completely government school teacher. So I've been visiting a lot of government schools that time also. Even though I never, I was completely in private English medium school till 12th standard, and kind of completely introvert kind of a character. I never, not many friends, just completely bookish. I do not know how to interact with people. I do not know to ask real questions, and I do not have in-depth knowledge. So completely bookish kind of a person till 12th standard. But yes, I think probably because of the scores and being studious, I got into good institutions after long. So very quiet, and that is how used to be very simple beginning, I would say.
Okay, so was some trigger in because your mom was in government school, this whole the Kalbi 40 that you're doing, do you see some connections of what you saw as a child, therefore probably did it stick in your brain sometimes? Do you ever think about it?
Uh, not really that age probably. I had how government school looks like and what are the difficulties they go through. Now what they don't get when I compare to my own private school and all that I've seen. But as I went ahead, I think more than my childhood days, some of those basics, right? in terms of my feeling for the country, to be very very straight, and because of being very very straight, also even many situations I put myself into very tough times because of being that way, even in corporate and all that. So with those basics and things like that, I just kept moving, and I think trying to understand what I'm really good at. I think also one of those things is like, as I go along, really trying to understand what is that I'm good at, right? What is that something which is interesting? What is it I'm capable of, right? Those are some questions, and always when you look at a lot of things, when you go around, why this is not happening, why things are still like this in terms of my country. That kind of an underlying unhappiness used to be always there. But yeah, I think that's in short about how my
Okay.
school days, or yeah.
So tell me, so what did you see in government schools as a child? And you were in a private school, and what do you remember of, those schools not having, and that left a deep impression in you, even as a kid?
Yeah, as a kid, I think one main thing is about the infrastructure, right? Number one, infrastructure, and number two, in terms of the quality of teachers, right? So these are some two important things. I still remember, I think, how passionate my teacher used to be in a private school. More than me, actually, when I got 198 out of 200 in my mathematics, my teacher used to be so unhappy and so upset about me not getting into 200 out of 200. That kind of a passion, he has been with me for 1 year, and trying to that is kind of what teachers can do, right? Even now, after so many years, I've never spoke to him, but it is very close to me in terms of how he has given me. So I think those are the two important things as a kid also I've noticed, in terms of one, infrastructure, number two, that kind of a that quality of teachers, right? Yeah, overall.
So, if you fast forward today, you are now going to government schools. You are doing a whole host of transformation programs in education through Kalvi 40. Do you see the same issues that were there when you saw as a kid to what is there today?
um, Unfortunately, today I work with much more tougher areas. I would say, when I say I know Trichy is a tier two city, and compared to big cities and tier two cities, you can see that which are closer to the vicinity, things are different. But today we consciously said, I want to stay away from corporate, or sorry, stay away from big cities, and go to real rural, right? But unfortunately, even today, when we go to deep rural, there's still situations in 2022 are, I would say, painful when we get out of schools. And I have a lot of stories. I'm going to tell you some of those stories, which are really painful in terms of, it is very difficult for, anybody to understand. Even if I had, 5 years back, I will not tell you this story, because I do not, first of all, understand. But today, because I go and sit with them, stand inside that remote school, I understand what situation is. So yes, I think I see much more closer, and with much more kind of a with a hat of problem solving. So yeah, that's how I will say it simple. Yeah.
So this normal, people in say tier one, tier two cities, for them, rural is Trichy is rural, right? Or maybe a bit of Karur might be rural, or maybe Sangli might be rural. So when you really talk rural,
Yeah.
tell me, how do you define rural for India?
Sure, absolutely. So when I say rural, let me take a district, right, in Tamil Nadu. Okay, let me take example, because we are operating completely in Tamil Nadu. Government school, right? Government school in total, right? Approximately there are like 43,000 schools to 45,000 schools, right? In Tamil Nadu, with education department alone. In each district, there are like 1,200 to 1,800 schools in each district itself. When I say rural, almost like when you get into the head, they say headquarters, say Trichy, say Perambalur, Karur. From that to reach a particular school, you need to travel at least like 20 kilometers, 30 kilometers. And sometimes examples are like one single day, we wanted to visit four schools, single teacher school, right? There are like single teachers school even today exist. And when we consciously wanted to go and address, those are the most struggling schools, and we wanted to visit. And Trichy, we visited four schools in a single day, and we had traveled nearly 240 kilometers in one single day. And that is what I talk about rural, right? The reason I tell you is that because I'm being in Chennai, I think the far you are, and and very remote you are, the kind of facility and kind of infrastructure what you have, the kind of access to lot of things are very, very difficult, and that makes it much more complicated, right? So I think that is what I talk about rural. And
So when you say rural, you talk about 240 kilometers from a place like Trichy or a district headquarters in any state. Okay. So that's
absolutely.
what you talk about, right? So therefore, when you say there is a school there, 240 kilometers, so what would be the population of that place? So therefore, how many families or households would be there in that place?
Yeah. So in each of these would be like 300 to 500 families, and then even that varies. Sometime it is like 50 families, 100 families are also there. So the strength of the school would really vary. Like some schools are like only 20 kids study in the school, and some schools there are only like 45, 50, 60, something like that. Yeah, and it is a primary school, so the whole first standard to fifth standard put together, there'll be only 20 kid or 30 kids, and there's only one single teacher available for them to serve the whole all the fifth standard. So that is how it is. Yeah.
Okay. So basically, not more than 50, 60 families or more than 100 families. And there is a school out there. And that's really where you go and do this work that you do, right? That's
Yes.
really, so that's real rural that we are talking about, right?
Yeah. I think definitely. I think
So,
that.
so tell me, so where do teachers come from for these schools?
Yeah. I would say at least 60-70% will stay away from this place. They have to travel at least 20 kilometers, and somebody travels like 40 kilometers in a single day one way, and all that. And only those 20% I would say, 20 to 25%, because of their job, and it is not going to be changing frequently, they relocate and probably come within the vicinity of like 3 to 5 kilometers, something like that. But otherwise, teachers have to really travel a lot and then come to these schools. Yeah.
So therefore, if you have to travel 30, 40 kilometers, what's the infrastructure like there in terms of travel first? So imagine if I'm a teacher and I have to reach a school 30, 40 kilometers, what's the infrastructure like? And can you just describe how it is for a teacher to travel to a school like this?
Yeah, I think predominantly, I think it would be a mix. I think some of them, men generally have their own motorbikes and they would travel. Females again today, teachers like at least like 30-40% will drive their own vehicle. Like even though it is like 20-30 kilometers, not much of traffic, so still they will cover the 20-30 kilometers. But those who are taking still I think 50-60 percentage are taking the public transport, right? So it is like they need to take multiple buses, right? Today, when you get into rural, it's like, and still there are villages where we have visited, like a teacher has to get down on a bus stop and she has to walk like 3-4 kilometers even today. And that there's no other facility, and yes, I think that is the only option available, and they still continue to do that. And
My
those
God.
are really inspiring people, and they don't complain, but still every day, walking 3-4 kilometers in today's situation is not used to, when we basically look at cities and tier two, but still people are doing it, and that's what we see. And because of the population being less, the number of transport, right, number of shuttles what buses do also is very limited. So you have to be on time, or when you miss, it is like probably you have to wait for another 2 3 hours to get the next one, or only two buses come in this village. And some people come and tell me that, sir, in this village there's only one bus in the morning and one bus in the evening. So there are situations like that also.
My God. So when you're really talking rural, you're really talking hinterland rural, right? That's where your schools are situated, right?
Yeah. I think I have not told you, much more. Another one, really complicated segment, or really the most toughest, which we have not served yet, but we have been working. Like there is one area, just to tell an example, it's a place called Javad Hills. Right? So this area is a forest area, and like this, there are multiple forest area in Tamil Nadu also, in many states. So within this forest area, there are 200 schools, and 200 schools are like distributed all across the forest, and it's a hilly area. Only 20 to 30 percentage of the this particular area, Javad Hills, you will have even the mobile network, and remaining you don't even have a mobile network. And situation is like some schools, when we walked, we had to get down, park our vehicle, and then we have to walk at least 2 3 kilometers on a really like a only a mud road, right? There's no proper road, but I had to walk like 2 3 kilometers to get into the school. And also I saw some parents like, sir, this parent is coming, do you know he has just walked 8 kilometers from his home to this school. So that is how situation, that is extreme. And that is one, like this forest area, and then no network area. And there are also certain tribal areas where zero network, and one of the stuff things where we are not serving, we don't have this kind of an no network solution, we don't have. But we go and understand these tough terrains. I think people are really nice, and they live in their own world, and they basically, you are completely disconnected from the whole system where we are in. The reason when I tell you that, whether the teacher gets into the school, whether the teacher that the school is operational today, even the government will not know about it, because there is no network. So how do you serve them, right? So that is how and when we see them, and certain times I felt like, even though they are like only 200 kilometers, 250 kilometers from Chennai, I find that they are really like 10 15 years behind than what I see teachers in other districts. So what do we do for them? So basically all this travel are basically to understand the problem deeper. I think one of those very very important things what I learned is like, it is not about technology, it is not about solutioning, it is not about what you want to offer. It is only that where they stand, and what is the problem, and is that something once we try to solve that, and can we give it to other states and everybody, right? So that is understanding the problem is the most important thing, and that is where still we feel, yeah, we are still touching the surface, we are still not deeper into really solving the problem. So
And it's lovely. It's lovely, Prem. I think I'm trying to paint a picture to the audience of, when you talk rural, people don't get it. So that's the reason I'm trying to spend a little bit of time on this. And
absolutely.
tell me the parents of these children. So, for example, imagine there's a 2030. We'll come to the single teacher school discussion.
Sure.
So what are these parents like? And, talk to me about the parents and therefore these kids.
Yeah, I think one of those very, very important stakeholder for any kid to get educated is, teacher is very, very important, no doubt about it. I think everybody will say. I think the next very important is parent, right? So they are the biggest influencers, and they are the change makers for those kids. But unfortunately, today, I think after all this travel, things like that, and our own understanding, we definitely feel more than anybody. I think today we need to educate these parents, because see, I think all of us today are empowered only because of the education what we have got from our schooling and the best institutes we have been, all that. But if you and me do not understand getting educated itself, there is a value, right? First of all, I need to be convinced that education can provide me life for itself. I think it's a game changer. That is something what is missing within. Number one, I do not see that value. And even when they talk like that, sir, my kid has to study and all that, but 2 3 years if they do not study and they just brand them that okay, this kid is not capable of studying and all that, and parent is like, okay, let him get into some job, things like that. So
So therefore, what would be the occupation of these parents?
occupation would be like predominantly they will be working on construction. They'll be working as drivers. They'll be working in factories. They'll be working in farming. They'll be doing farming, and when farming is not that great, probably they will migrate and get into some job and things like that. So that is how it is. So all these parents are predominantly like that. Value of education has not give them the real job. It is like I'm not, even though they will say I've done 8th standard, 10th standard, but actually the job you're doing is a driver job. You're working in a construction, working in factory, manual job, things like that. So really understanding of that education can empower, change your generations. I think that is something what we are not able to find in those parents, and I know that is what we slowly want to educate them, saying that it takes probably 10 15 years, but I think one generation, and only one generation, if you get educated, I think like us, it takes the curve changes, the graph changes upwards, and generations become better. And that is how we see. And unfortunately, parents are, these are some profiles predominantly. Yeah.
And what would be their monthly income?
um, Monthly income would be say monthly is like really varying, and from 5,000 to somebody is getting like 15,000, 20,000, 25,000, something like that.
Okay, okay.
uh,
So they
yeah,
get 5 to 15,000, but literally they are in the back of the back kind of villages, and that's really where these people work.
yeah,
And when you said there are 43,000 odd government schools in Tamil Nadu, where this is
yeah,
Kalbi 40 today, you as a non-profit, you focus on these government schools, 43,000 schools in Tamil Nadu. That's the first phase that you have taken. Um so tell me, how many children would study in this 43,000 schools?
yeah. So in terms of numbers, nearly 6.8 million kids study in government school in Tamil Nadu, right? So there are multiple departments and multiple schools, but in total it is like 6.8 million kids study in Tamil Nadu alone. So this is still 12th standard. Yeah.
Okay. And so these schools have classes from primary to 12th standard, or some schools are only till 6th standard, 7th standard, and then they have to go to a district headquarters for 8th standard. How is it? And therefore these schools, till what classes at least they teach?
Yeah, the category is like we call it primary school, middle school, high school, and higher secondary school. So the primary schools are the one which is like first standard to fifth standard, and middle school are like first standard to eighth standard, and high schools are first standard to 10th standard. Higher secondary is like first standard to 12th or 6th to 12th, either way. So again, very good question actually, because this is something where when you get into a where the population is really high, tier 2 and big schools, you have something like a higher secondary school where moment you get admitted and then you are going to travel till 12th standard. But get into a rural school, it is primary school, predominantly it is primary school or middle school. So they would say till fifth standard he was studying here. Now he has to go to the middle school, which is like 3 kilometers away, 5 kilometers away, and something like that. And after middle school, he has to switch over to a next school, to high school and higher secondary and things like
Okay.
that.
So therefore, the schools that you really bring this technology solution is really in the primary schools.
Yes, we work in the category from primary to middle. So that
Okay.
third standard to eighth standard is the only focus what we have done.
Okay. So it's a
So
primary school, and out of the 6.8 million kids who study, how many of them will be in the primary middle school category?
primary and middle would be nearly like 2.7 million kids would be studying in this category.
Okay, 2.7 million. Okay. And what kind of infrastructure does the school have? And before that, tell me, are there enough teachers, or do these schools, you call them single teacher schools, which means that, are you telling me that a single teacher has to teach all subjects, maths, history, language? So one teacher has to teach all language, all subjects. Sorry.
Absolutely. So I think when 2018, when I was understanding this problem and trying to go deeper and understand, I think one of those important things is like as per MHRD and state government rule, the ratio is like 30 is to 1 is the ratio. So having said that, if a primary school can get only 30 kids or less than that, only one teacher is deputed, right? So that particular one teacher, that's a single teacher school, will have to teach all the 5 subjects into all the 5 classes. So there is no way that a particular teacher can be an expert in almost like 25 subjects, right? If you look at the cross. So it is so tough, and that is where we said, how is this really possible? And when we visited these schools, and also you can see, because the size is small, the fourth standard and fifth standard put together will be like 10 kids, and third standard will be another 10 kids, and second standard, first standard would be 10 kids, and then some schools they would make fourth and fifth sit together and teach the sessions. So and for a teacher, like a teacher also would be like she might be a science teacher, but if you ask her to teach social studies, if you ask her to teach mathematics, what kind of quality we would be able to give them, right? So all these were the questions what we had. And even today, to tell you, I'm not talking about 45,000 schools. I work with another department in government, so they have 930 schools where officially we work with them. Last month, when we look at the report, 930 schools, in that 146 schools are single teacher schools, right? It is 2022, and even today we have. So my only question, so yeah, I think so that is something where how do you give quality, right? I sometimes go back and ask some of those government officials also, like, just because I don't have money, just because I cannot afford to get my kid to get in the right school, what is the justification that these kind of schools, and how do we justify to these kids giving quality education, right? So yes, I think I understand the constraint what government has and practical and all that, but having said that, I think this is the reality from a parent point of view. I don't have money, and how long am I going to get this quality of education?
So therefore, these are single teacher schools, 5 subjects to be taught by one single teacher across 4 5 standards. That's really or grades, as urban people would call, but that's really how this world is, right? Okay.
Absolutely.
So I also read a very interesting thing about you, Prem, is that you actually went and did some agriculture to understand the lives of these primary sorry this people who live in this area, and you really talk about the need to understand it before you started building whatever tech platform that you started building.
Yeah.
So what did you do? I did not get enough information about you going and doing some agriculture stuff. So what did you do?
Yeah, I think 2017, when I came back from Germany, only one thing was clear. It was not like when I came in, I just said I want to do Kalvi Navada. No, nothing like that. Actually, when I came in, because I've been working with corporates, I think one important thing generally, I'm not to blame anybody for that matter. generally for the ease of our own convenience, I have fund, I have like X crore, and I have in my CSR bucket, and I want to spend. And generally I've seen that, we, because of our own convenience, we put a rule that I will serve in a radius of 20 kilometers, 30 kilometers, and I spend that. So I go and see these kind of things, and feel very upset that when is rural going to be get served, right? Those are the most the struggling category, and nobody serving. So when I came back from Germany, I was very clear that uh, any solution I'm going to do, I'm going to work only on rural. So when I said rural, it is very easy to talk about rural and interesting quotes and all that. But I think if you want to really understand rural, you have to get down, go understand farming, and how beautiful villages are. So I said when I came back from Germany in 2017 May, I said I first immediately took up an organic farming workshop. So I went to Karur, took a 3 days workshop where you have to completely stay away from everything. No soap, no plastic, nothing like that in an infrastructure for 3 days, and they teach you in and out of basics of organic farming, and you tend to look at nature much more closer. You tend to love those how cows are being used in agriculture and all that. So after that, I started traveling to many villages, looking at this organic farming, the difficulties what farmers had, and what is the supply chain happening, and who is selling, who is making market, and went ahead, knowing about why organic farming, retailers are making losses, why they are struggling, what is people mindset, and all that. And I was about to start an different set of venture after 1 year, and for whatever reason my family was completely against all this, and I said, I'm not doing it. I just postponed that. But I think those experience has been phenomenal. I know one experience I want to tell you. One day it's like, because I used to be working in corporate, and Monday to Friday I used to be IT delivery manager. So German customers, and I have been sitting and managing here and all that Monday to Friday. And then on a Saturday morning, I tend to go on. So Saturday morning, I took a bus and public transport. Almost we traveled for 7 hours. Took multiple buses, very deep. I went to a tribal village, and there is only one bus, that goes. And very beautiful. Travel all the way, almost like till 7 hours, and then get to understand how those tribal are, and you get to see, like you hear about bamboo rice and all that. You get to see all those bamboo rice physically, and those nature and what they do, how they sell, and then come back next day morning around spending 2-3 hours, again travel back 7 hours, come back morning at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock home. So people used to be thinking, no, this guy is really crazy to do all this, and very unusual. But I think those are the brilliant experiences to understand how tough it is, and still farmers are not taught some important skills, and why I feel very unhappy about, even without a ROI, kind of a thinking, farmers are still doing farming. Those kind of questions used to come. Yes, I think those are that is my experience with rural, and still connected with a lot of friends across Tamil Nadu who are doing organic farming and all that. So that's my little experience in farming.
Okay. So one of the things that was interesting to me was uh, you lived in you lived in a tier two town. You did a corporate job. Uh, so what is it? It's always good to have a hobby, right? Go over the weekend, try to do all this, feel very good that I am doing something for rural. But when you come back, you are an IT delivery manager, and the life changes because you have a German customer and things like that. So how did you really go back and then say, now let me make this hobby my life goal or my life objective? So what was that moment? And obviously uh, you are not going to make the money that you would be making as a delivery manager, right? So therefore how did you make this switch?
Sure. A very important question, definitely. So, I think it is not a overall, overnight switch, but I think it is a process, and I think thankful to a lot of people. I think even today, when I'm sitting and speaking to you, I think a lot of kind people like you come together and just like a small baby, with their experience, they take my hand and make me, walk along with them. When I started this, and 2018, when I was traveling rural, couple of examples, and then said education. I went ahead and looked at what is available, what is government doing, what is digital government is doing, and what infrastructure in rural when we had and things like that. And when I understood all that, I said, okay, let me try out a pilot. So that is how I started. And as you know, because when we come from technology, naturally we come with all the latest technology. Come on, I know artificial intelligence, I know this. Come on, let me go and try. Actually, nothing worked. I tried and voice recognition, mechanism, and went ahead and try. I was trying to demo to a rural expert teacher, and completely that demo failed. Then I realized that basically, you don't even have, internet facility there. It is like so thin, 3 Mbps, 4 Mbps, and we are talking about artificial intelligence. And every time when I do that, and it is going to go to, Google server and hit the server, come back, this is not going to work. And then I went more, further said, look at the book and do some basics. And that is where I decided, let's do lightweight. Even today, 2 to 3 Mbps network is good enough for Kalpina to stream videos. When we started like that, I did my pilot. But I think when we started, I had all this idea on paper, and because the domain is completely new, I'm kind of an introvert. I don't have big connections. I don't go and meet people. I don't socialize much. So when I had all these papers, and then I was talking to a lot of, I wanted support from government school teachers. Basically, they are the domain experts. But I think it took me months to understand who's the right people and all that. So over some time, I understood and went to Kanjipuram, and Kanji digital team on a group of government school teachers started supporting me, and then we started doing the pilot. And then after 3 months of pilot, I realized that this idea is going to work. Naturally, when I come from B school, whatever idea it may be, doing a pilot is sensible. So I did my pilot, 15 villages we tried out. Then we launched the app. I was working the corporate, doing weekend app is live in Play Store. But I think always sitting in corporate is like one. I had my one question is like, I'm not able to really go out and explore what I'm really good at, and time is running. Right, time is running. I'm not able to go in the pace what I wanted to see, and I'm really trying to solve a problem. I'm not doing a hobby. So that unhappiness was after launch, almost like 6 months. I was working in corporate doing the weekend. This question was there, and then after 3 months, I said, I'm not doing a hobby. I'm doing a serious work, and I need to give justice to that. And I said, let me take a 1 year break and then get out and do this. And it is not a big plan for I had next 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. No, nothing like that. It's a serious problem. I want to go and try out, and I said it is worth trying. And then I resigned my job, and then said, when nobody accepted this, like it is a sensible idea. And still I said, give me 1 year. I want to come out of this and be there full time and seriously try. And I think that is one very important decision. When you are serious about it, I think the whole world will look at it that way.
So you are somebody who moved from an IT services, an IT background, and went to rural, right?
Yeah.
And you built technology. So what are the lot of things that you had to unlearn, Prem? Because there's a lot of hype around. It's a $260 billion business. Yeah, there's a lot of thing that IT is hyped about, and suddenly when you move to what you are doing, which is really hinterland rural, what from technology had you to really unlearn, and it shocked the wits out of you, right? Because you had to do many things which probably you took for granted, saying, "Oh, there's a client in Germany, there's a client in UK." What was the biggest unlearning that you had to do?
Um, Yeah, I think being from the technology company, and you always had a team, and the kind of, what I would say is like knowledge is like compartmentalized. Like, you tend to work on one area, and then like that, things are compartmentalized, and you become expert over time. And then anyway, I think project management and delivery, you tend to do all that. But I think when you come to solve a problem, I think one of those very, very important things, which, or I think two important things I would say. I think number one, we generally tend to look at, immediately in terms of the result next, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, what is that long term? And when we always look at, we have to climb a mountain, right? uh, and then you look at how complex is the mountain, and then, to get there, and you don't even take the first step. So I think the most important thing is like look at that first step and do it well, right? Number one. Number two, in terms of unlearning, I would say, I think in corporate, everything you had people to do, you can always delegate and get it done, right? As a delivery manager, I had project managers, and everything you get it done, and you strategize, and you do only important things. Here it is not like that. Here everything is like you have to get down, and do from the scratch, and top to bottom. I know from video editing, writing down questions. I have typed questions for my own. I have done app development on my own. Even today, if there is some poster to be done and somebody is on not doing, I will do a poster for my own and launch it. So anything and everything, you have to, stop looking at, I will do only X skill, and I will not do, no, it is not like that. When you have to solve problem, you have to, learn all this. So I think, these are something in terms of, two important things I would say. There are many other things, but I think these two important things I would say, take those first step. And number two, in terms of, don't restrict yourself to, those specializations.
So therefore, so you talked about I had a team, I'll delegate, and most often what I find in IT is that you delegate, but you really have to follow up to even get basic work done, right?
Yeah.
So that's a big problem that at least I have seen. So therefore, you may think you have delegated, but actually, you just have to micromanage to even get an output, right? So therefore, here you don't have a team. Here you have to build everything yourself.
Yeah.
Here you have to think about the problem. You have to think about doing it yourself, and you may not have the best technology people wanting to do this because it is not it's not remunerative enough, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
so how did you get a team to do this? And tell me about the technology team. What is their motivation, and why do they do what they do today?
Yes, I think, thankfully, very, very important question. Yes, I think that is what makes it very, very complex and very challenging. Because, sometimes I used to think that, even though in terms of vertical, within my own organization, in quarterly meetings, I say there are 8 different verticals sitting, and there is only one boss, and everything boils down to me. And there is only limited time to, do this in terms of, what I can do on a quarter-on-quarter basis. Um, so I think, that is the biggest challenge. So in terms of technology, I think technology, when I started, mainly I naturally, I want to do hands-on and understand, did a trial out and all that. But naturally, as a founder, and when you want to focus on very important things, you have to outsource, right? So thankfully, thankfully through the connect, we got a company to outsource. I mean, a very small company, which is young people, like, they are like 24, 25 years old, and a small organization, 5 to 10 member old organization. And that is how we started, and were very skeptical that, how will they do, and will they understand things like that. So thankfully, even today, Free Tech Caf, they have been traveling with us for last nearly 4 years. From the scratch, they have been with us. More than anything, they are like, even though it's an outsourced company, and initially I was very thoughtful that I didn't have that much of money to outsource and pay and all that. But thankfully, when they started, they said, okay, give me a small check, and that's good enough for me. So that is how we started the relationship. But they, even though they are an outsourced company, they work like an in-house company. They come and travel with us, understand, question every single bit. Even I tell some wrong recommend, they understand, question me. and that is how we started developing the technology. And I had very specific requirements, like number one, it has to be lightweight. That was number one, and the whole design even today is like very lightweight. And in terms of design also, UI design is one of the simplest design. So that used to be thanks to my ex HCL colleague who sits in Germany, works in another company today. So he is the designer for this. The whole thing he has done is like kind of undisturbed, very plain, no distraction kind of a design. So that way, so all these were, because I had the experience of getting things done. How do I get things done? So that is my whole experience. So I know he is good at certain things, and I will go and get things done from him. But so that way, technology also, because I have my own technology background, it was very easy to work with them. So that is how we slowly developed. Even today we have developed an Ionic kind of a framework where once you develop the app, you can put that in both Android Play Store and also in Apple. So we call it as a hybrid framework. But because our target market is only in Android, we are not deployed in Apple Play Store. It is only in Android. It's a very light app we have developed, and I've as a IT guy, I've done testing, development, delivery, everything. So I do a lot of testing and user testing also. So that way, because the hands-on has helped me a lot. Yeah.
So therefore, before you started Kalvi 40, right? We'll come to Kalvi 40, but I just want to set the background to the audience that when you outsource IT,
Yeah.
okay, you the way you would have behaved when you actually were in a outsourced IT company, to actually what you are doing today when you outsource it. Okay, what is the difference between corporate outsourcing and social outsourcing?
Yeah, I think corporate outsourcing generally, you tend to believe, a lot in process, a lot in paper, right? And even that is how sitting on the other side, as you rightly asked, being a service provider, more than the people relationship, it is all about paper. It is all about the evidence, what you show, and what we have done historically. Only those things speak, and people are not believed. And even for me to develop that relationship with a German customer or a UK customer, it takes years for them to develop that trust, and then after that, it is like whatever you say is completely believed, and you just go with it. But here it is about a relationship, right? It is not about, because you are always on operating on a constraint, because constraint is like I don't have big money to go and trial out finance and get the best of best. I even certain features what I wanted, what we are doing it today, 3 years back, even though I have it in the list, because I don't have enough finance, I cannot go and develop that. So I have it in the pending list and say, CR will come after 3 years. Even today, one of the biggest demand is like people actually get very upset that, sir, you are serving only those people with the online medium where internet is available, but see these people who do not have network. I talked about Jawad Hills. Those are the people. They tell me examples like, so those are the people who are standing and with hunger. You need to serve them first. So these are the examples teachers come and tell me that. But yes, these are technology, and then these are fourth step. I will not come to that at day one. So I tell them. So I think. I think the relationship and the way you work with them, right? And so that is more than process. So in that process, what happens, like, because you come from corporate, the process, and because I come from this project management background, I know where they will fail. I know what are the risks I see, and I go and tell them that 3, 4, 5. These are something what you are missing, and then you need to do this. And I have an extra check and extra testing for them as a weakness. So all this I go and teach them and also coach them in terms of how do they do, not only to me, to the other customers, how do they get better, things like that. So it is about working together as a partner, and trying to deliver what best. And there are experiences where we have launched, and immediately after that we have removed all those experiences also there, because the market is like that. It is very, very tough. You think you have understood, and but basically market will come and tell you that, boss, you're completely wrong, right? Those are, the day one when we launched, we had that experience. So yeah, that is also.
So I want to ask you a very, completely 360-degree, view question, which is completely opposite. Imagine you were to go back to corporate, okay,
Yeah, yeah.
and you want to do this outsourcing, and you become a delivery manager again. What are the things that you will not do there, and what are the things that you learned in the social enterprise that you will go and get done in that corporate job?
No, very, very different question actually. Okay. No, nobody has asked me. You're making me think. So I think one important thing, right? I will say habits, right? So all of us, habits are the most important thing, whether you like it or not. Over some time, you've developed some kind of an comfort zone, right? As a corporate service provider, as a project management delivery manager, you are set to rely too much on the process. You are set to rely too much on what your boss says. Your risk-taking ability to serve the customer is actually less, right? So, but when you work with the customer straight away, I think these are something where customer will see value, right? So when I said certain times, yeah, processes are important, practices are important, things like that. Certain times when you take decisions, these risk taking, where apply your mind and then take risk, and which might be solving problem not from the standard pattern what has been already set out for, right? So those are the things I will go and do, adding value both to my corporate and also for the customer.
Great. So let's come back to Calvi 40. So I think, imagine, I spend this time just to give a context to the big shift that happened for you as a IT delivery manager, as a technology person. Suddenly you're going to rural, and really, hinterland rural. So today, when you look at Calvi 40, uh, what's the platform? So talk to me about the platform, and then I'll come back to the other questions that I have about the platform.
Yeah. So when we started, Calvi 40, basically we looked at, what is basically affordable from a
Before
young.
that, I have a question, Prem. Why Calvi 40? What's the mission behind Calvi 40?
Yeah, thank you.
Why the name?
Yes, thank you. So I think as I when I started our discussion, I think you asked a very important question in terms of education, reach, and how parents are set up and all that. So I always believe that education is the power, right? What we have all got in Tirukural, which is the iconic Tamil literature, Sangam literature, written by Thiruvalluvar. And there is a chapter called 40th chapter, and 40th chapter talks about the most important wealth anybody can possess is education, right? Kalvi, and that is what it talks about in 40th chapter. So that way we were inspired that 2000 years old literature which talks about education, which is the most important, the only wealth which people cannot take from you, and the most important wealth, we want to give that power to the rural, right? Enable them through rural, and that's the inspiration, like Kalvi 40, chapter number 40 of Tirukural, we kept it. And I think a lot of people, when they hear the brand name, across the globe, they feel very emotional and just connect because of the name itself. So I think thankfully it is not me. Many of these things are not, Prem has not done all this. So I think one Mr. Dr. Vikram Srinivasan, who has been fighting with me that I'm not keeping a brand name for my project, and he gave this name, and very beautiful, thankful to him. That is how.
Okay. So what does the platform do? So talk to me about the platform, and how does it drive three four things that you talk about in education, which is
Yeah,
curiosity,
sure.
habits,
Yeah,
learning. So
yeah.
talk to me about the platform a bit.
Sure. I think when we started, when we had this paper in terms of idea and things like that, reaching the digital, using technology, we need to enable the teachers and students. That was the basic idea, right? And inside the classroom, we wanted this quality education. When we say like, farmers, minimum support pricing, something like that, minimum, support learning kind of a thing. Every classroom, every village should have Kalvina inside their classroom at the minimum quality. So that is the the vision which with we started, and when we started, we understood that only 30% 35% of people had access to Android mobile phone. It was 2018. We did a small survey and understood. So we said whatever we develop in Android. When I developed also, we were very clear that we wanted to give some kind of a personal learning, and that is where in the personal learning space we said we will develop an app instead of a portal or a website, something like that. So app, and we developed an Android app which will come in Play Store. And we decided that there should not be any advertisement, no commercial. It's a lifetime. It is a free thing what we wanted to do. And then when we develop, there are six important things we wanted to do. Number one, lightweight videos, right? Lightweight videos. Even if the network is like 2 to 3 Mbps, it should stream without any issue. But I think one of the problem statement which I didn't tell you is like we were focusing to develop the base third standard, eighth standard, and develop a last bencher, right? So when we do that, we understood that that particular customer, the attention span is going to be very less. So I cannot put a video which is like 20 minutes, 30 minutes giving a big lecture. He will not listen. So we said anything we do, it is going to be 3 minutes. It is going to be a 3 minute video. So 3 minute video, two purpose. One, attention span, he can listen. Number two, it is 3 minutes is like lightweight video. Even today, 90% of my videos are like the size of the video itself is like 7 MB size. So these two things help. So number one, lightweight video. Number two, number two is like online test. So without the help of a teacher and parent, we want them to students to go and play. It is like a go and make mistake. Allow him to make mistake. I think that is the most important thing. I will tell teachers that when I student come and makes mistake, you will get emotional, but machine does not get emotional. Any number of time he can go and make mistake. So number two, we call it as Paichi Tervu, which is like doing online test. Number three, timer based test. So after every chapter, you take 10 questions and take test, make mistake, learn. So all these three are completely aligned with the basics, what they learn inside their classroom. Tamil Nadu syllabus, term 1, term 2, term 3. We did the same thing in a digital platform in a very interesting way. This is first part. Second part is like the most important thing is like the education should be directed towards developing full personality. So this is what UN report 1948 states, right? So we wanted to develop the full personality. How do I do that? Three things we have done. Number one, I wanted to develop my own European experience when I came back. How do I make a habit of making these kids think on everyday basis? So there is in Tirukural, in Tamil, there is something called Vidugadai. So this is puzzle. Every day we give you a puzzle in an audio format, and the answer will come only tomorrow. So this is one of those very popular categories what we have. So this way, every day he thinks. And number five, the parenting is very weak in rural, right? You can imagine compared to urban or educated parent, the parenting is very weak. So we said, every day I will tell you some stories and 4 to 5 minute audio stories, and then give you some moral at the end of the day. So this is end of the story. This is fifth category. And the sixth is the most important thing. We call it as general topics. Podu Talaipugal. This one is like, assume you walk into the buffet and you tend to decide what you want to eat. And that is exactly, we want to keep it. So today we have 20 different categories. Example, you want to learn French and Spanish basics, it is available. English basics, in a very professional European standard is available. Tamil basics available. You want to listen to science expert Arvind Gupta from Pune's Toys from Trash, using a small plastic bottle and straw, you can do science experiment, that is available. Using stamps you can learn history. Using music's basic, all these are available in general topics as a free different series. This is just to we are not making people to become expert, but just to teach them something new, to make their thinking big. Come and explore. I think these are 6 different categories what we have as of today.
Beautiful. So to do this, how many videos today do you have in the platform?
Yeah. So I think so thankful and grateful, I think, to whole of Tamil community where we stand today. When I started, even to do the 10 video, 50 video used to be so tough, because naturally, coming from my own process and management, things like that, I have my own review process, I have my own guidelines, I have my own checklist to cross through. So it used to be very tough to cross that stage and get into the app. So when we started like that, but from zero, today we have nearly 7,800 videos exclusively built for these children. We have nearly 28,000 questions available. We have nearly like 20 different categories of general topics. All completely all this is possible only from the global volunteering. Tamil people across the globe have come together and supported, and this all when I say video, 7,500 video, each one of them, right? Each one of them is given from as the audio voice is given from somebody sitting across the globe. Somebody from Fiji has given, somebody from Qatar, somebody from New Zealand, somebody from US, Australia, Japan. And so that is that's the beauty. And you are wherever you are, and you come and join together and serving the rural. And that is the beauty of this journey. And that is what, in short, what we have in the app, free of cost.
So how many volunteers do you have?
Volunteers, almost like 600 700 volunteers we have across the globe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So sorry to cut you. So when you have 600 volunteers, the challenge when you have people sitting in one office to get a project out is so difficult. So how do you manage 600 volunteers globally? How do you do project management?
Yes, I think COVID, and also all this, a lot of people have come together and help us. Today, I don't know, looking at these volumes, people might imagine I have a huge team. No, nothing like that. I have only 10-member full-time team, including the content development, field implementation guys, everybody full-time 10 members, and then in contracting and IT another 10 people, and then everything is volunteers. So we work on a completely remote model in this whole thing. When I say 10-member full-time team, this 10-member full-time team itself is like distributed across Tamil Nadu. Somebody is sitting in the down south, 2 girls from Theni, which is like down south, and they are like first time getting into job, and 2 people are doing phenomenal job from contracting, and somebody is sitting in Bangalore, somebody in Chennai, somebody in Kadalur, somebody in Trichy. So the whole team is distributed. So over some time it is we build this, but yeah, managing this even today we are not effective. Naturally coming from the systems background, I know for everything, when we have right kind of technology and when we have so much of tools available today, we can be much more efficient. But today, because I don't have enough backing from finance point of view, I don't invest in big tools. Even today, we operate in the best of the best of the cheapest what is available in terms of Excel, Drive, so many of the free tools what we have and operate. So thankful I have 2 coordinators to work with these volunteers. So predominantly the whole process is like volunteers. Even though when we say 600 700 volunteers, it is very difficult to retain volunteers and continuously make them productive. So it is like very very cyclical, and sometimes somebody comes and things like that. But the coordinators are the one who will start from scratch. We have the process from guideline, giving them sample, and then reviewing the sample, testing them whether you are really doing the standard what we are doing, and then when you cross over that, then we get you the actual job of doing this, and then after you deliver, we have a mechanism to review before it gets approved. The whole process. So we have a very thin team, but I think over some time when right volunteers come in, they completely understand and cut down our review process. That's how I see. So
So is your learning that when a volunteer comes with a purpose to serve a community, process is not so important, but when purpose becomes important, process actually can take a back seat, right?
absolutely, absolutely.
Huh?
Absolutely. I think two very very important things also when we also talked about delegation, right? Delegation, I think that the most difficult skill is delegation, right? If you ask me to do something, I can do easily, but if you have to get it done from somebody, is the most difficult thing. But as managers, that is the biggest art. All of us trying to improve every day and every week. But thankfully, I think one of the biggest difference when we come to non-profit like this, only passionate people will come to you, work with you, right? So when I work with Swami, I will say so nice and all this, but when it comes to work, I will say when Swami is not delivering something right, I will say very very straight that Swami, you have to correct your video or audio 5 times, and only if you are patient enough and if you are passionate about to do this, you will stay with me. And I'm very very strict that way, saying that it is not that we are doing for Kalvi Napadi, you are not doing for somebody. There is only one thing I tell everybody, whole team is like, just look at, we are serving that last mile kid. Am I doing justice to that kid? Am I delivering quality for that kid? Everything else is noise. So if we are not convinced, please ask question. And all my volunteers, when they come to us, we explain this whole process, and only those passionate people will stick on and walk this journey. It is not easy. Many people can come and tell that I wish to do. Even today, I have people I wish to do like this. I will also test when Swami tells. I keeps telling that Swami is very interested. I said, Swami, yes, next to your house in 10 kilometers there is a school. Can you go and visit tomorrow? I will give you checks like that and find out that how really passionate you are, and people have proved that passion. Why I explained it so much is like, when passionate people come and deliver, I think and that is the best thing for somebody like me. Like, you don't need to stay there and own anything, right? You today we have passionate stories, like two classical example I want to tell as one as a volunteer, one as a employee, right? One somebody with 54 years of age. He has worked in Indian Air Force for like 16 years. He has served in Abu Dhabi airport for authority as a project manager for nearly 8 years. He's in Trichy. He works as a volunteer. But believe me, as I told you, I was testing him, saying that, can you go to Kadalur? Can you travel 60 kilometers? Tomorrow we are doing something. He immediately picks up the bag and travels. And today he's one of those biggest inspiration. When I tell him that we are one of those very important corporate customer, and we are serving in that Virudhunagar or Ariyalur, and the whole week from Monday to Friday you have to be stationed in Ariyalur, no question asked, he will go and stay there and deliver it. And the point is, he is much more better than you, and his expertise level is much more better than you. So it is like, you believe in people and you just enable them, give them all that, the basic finance, and ask him to stay, forget about all that, enable them, and you stay out of the scene, and they will prove. And that is what passionate people about. So this is number one. Number two, employees, right? Very very difficult to retain employee today in this world of where competition to pay so much, and IT people are switching jobs, things like that. Imagine I'm paying one of the lowest I would say, and still I need smart people. And job is so tough. It is not that you sit in your house and do online. No, nothing like that. I will, when you come and join me for implementation, I tell them that in a week, 2 weeks back, we implemented in a district called Arielur. You will not imagine, in 20 schools to implement in the same district, that person has traveled 900 kilometers within one district, 20 kilometers. So imagine how many people will come and stay with you and do that job. And I'm not paying one of the very small thin salary I'm paying. And this guy is only 22 years old, and he says he came to some of our programs and he understood what we are doing, and he said, it is not like a job itself you are doing. It is nothing like work. You people are like so passionate, so happy, and that is what makes me come here and join. And he's doing, like, he's a full-time employee and 22 years. So I think two classical example I've given you. So I think a lot of volunteering stories, audio preparation, somebody sitting in Melbourne always looking at what is that I can do. If I call her saying that I have a problem and I'm not able to solve this, can you talk to an important resource here and solve this, she will be ready to pick up the phone. I'm not paying anything. It is volunteering job, but passion to come and serve, right? Action from people are always inspiring. And I always feel so thankful. I think thankful to God, thankful to Tamil community and all these people. When there is nothing like I can say that all this I have done. It is like people come and do, and like what you have done here. You come and give this opportunity and enable and take this to right people and all that. Like that, so many people have come forward to come and support. And the most important thing is, like, all these people have never wanted any kind of mileage. Never even I would have sent them any appreciation certificate. I've never even conducted a big meeting to show them something like that. Never ever. Those are truly passionate people. They need to come to the front and all that. And even after only 3 years now, we are sending in some kind of a digital certificate. But I think those are truly passionate people. And if you have a team like that, and when people see you and team, I think that's how the miracle happens. I believe.
Brilliant. So you also not just do apps, right? You also, I saw this thing about how almost 90% of the schools have still this cathode ray tube CRT TVs. Not there are no LEDs, right? So you also have done a kind of a Chromecast kind of a stuff. So can you talk to me about it? So actually, are you saying that the old world TVs are actually there, and these schools have these old world TVs?
Absolutely, they are still there, and even now we are doing that. So I think before that, I think one of those important questions generally, on this journey, we are always, when we tend to question ourselves, and also have good intelligent leaders and advisors to question us. That way, okay, digital content is ready, but we are serving those people who do not have access to handset, right? So how do we serve them? So that was the question in 2020, and thankful to the NGO friend from Tiruvannamalai. He said, "Sir, even today, a lot of schools have the old generation TV. We call it a CRT TV, and it will be lying like unused. 10 years back, somebody gave to the school, and that is left unused, and there is no other digital infrastructure. So we said, when we wanted to make this digital content available inside the classroom, we don't want to spend donors' money unnecessary also, to be very optimal that way, right? So we also visited schools where LED TV were there, and somebody has spent 35,000, but actually it was completely unused for 2 years, and sponsored by Rotary, and even somebody would have give me a remote saying that, can you please help me put the battery inside the remote. So we used to be getting so upset that that particular 35,000 given by a sponsor is living unused. So that way we said, first step is to give you something to bring the horse to the pond, and first of all make them taste for themselves. So that way we said low cost television. So we said that is where we did some trials and R&D and things like that, and we said this old generation CRT TV, we attached CRT Chromecasting device, and then HDMI adapters, and then certain charges and all that. With that, what we did was like the digital content what is coming in teachers mobile, the video, audio, the whole thing will get streamed into the TV. So this was something with a very minimal cost. So till last year it used to be like 5,000 rupees per school, including this product installation, visiting that school, everything. A donor needs to just give us 5,000 rupees per school, and we'll go and implement. So we used to go to every district. So almost like go to Kanyakumari, Tiruvallur, north, south, central, every district, but you just pay 5,000 rupees per school. We will go install that, give training to the teachers. That is the most important thing. Even today we are doing training the teachers to use technology inside the classroom. So that is how we slowly started from zero. Today we are nearly like 750 schools across 26 districts. We have given this experience.
Brilliant. So therefore, you have the CRT TV, you have this Chromecast, and you're actually saying this: these children don't have access to handsets.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Even today, 2 months back in two districts, we did a survey, and then only like 40 to 50% of the kids say, when my mom and dad will come back home, they will give me for half an hour, or even some kids say in a week I will get only 2 hours time, right? Even today, and like 40-50% say I don't have mobile phone. My dad uses button phone, right? So those are experiences even today. In two districts, we did a survey recently, like 2 months back. So that is how it is. So they don't have access. And
So therefore, literally, the teacher's phone is used to actually open the app, and then that's really how the children learn in these schools. So you change the model from downloading the app to actually downloading the teacher's app and broadcasting it in the CRT TV, and that's how the classes run, right?
absolutely, absolutely. So what we wanted to do is like with that low cost, because if it is coming in a TV, the 20 kids, 30 kids in a classroom can watch the digital content. So we teach, maths and science in a very simple visual format with the images, so they can, visually understand things. That is how it enables, and the classroom becomes digital.
So therefore, if I want to support this cause,
Yeah,
and if some audience wants to support this cause, what you're saying is you can support a school and you can pay 5,000 rupees, and then you will then pick up the schools and then go implement it. And do you also give some report back to the donor saying that so many schools have been converted, so many schools have been are regularly children are using it? So do you do that? So what's the method?
yeah. I think yes, absolutely. They can, people can definitely, sponsor. We don't do for one single school, at least as a cluster, because we travel a lot and it very difficult to maintain things like that. So at least 5 schools, if they can sponsor, we will go. If they have preference in terms of I want a specific district, we go and do that, or we will go and understand in terms of what are the schools who are motivated enough to learn new things and use it. So we have the kind of intelligence we have. So those schools we will implement that, and then we will give them pictures in terms of and every school when we visit, sponsored by Swami, we have a sticker, and also we explain, train, and we give them the video of the teacher after the experience, what was the feedback. So all this we will share back to the donor. So another important thing is like we also have kind of an URL where the schools, what is the usage from the school point of view, they can also see. So this is what we do for an individual user. We also have corporate user, but individual user definitely they can come and support, and this is what we do.
How has been the support from corporate, and what do you expect corporates, and what kind of help do you think will help corporates adopt this, and therefore you'll be able to scale it faster?
Yeah. One of those very important things from an individual donors and this one-time installation visit, what we are doing, I think one of the challenge what we see is like we are not able to frequently go back, right? After we install, get to the village, with that cost, it is very difficult to go back, and only through calls we do, and which are not getting very effective. So what we designed for corporate is like, we wanted them to stay there for a 1 year program, not like a one time. So what we have done, now we work with one of those important projects. What we are currently working on is with Ramco Siemens. They have factories in two districts. So we are doing in Ariyalur and Virudhunagar. So we have identified 35 schools, and in each of these 35 schools, we give them a premium solution. We give them an 40-inch LED TV, and in that 40-inch LED TV, we pre-install Kalvi 40, Kalvi 40, like a Netflix or Amazon, something like that. So app comes pre-installed, and the whole classroom becomes digital. So that's a one-time setup, and after that, we have dedicated resource to travel there every month, understand what are the gap. We do a baseline assessment for these schools, understand what is that gap at a student level in the school, and we run this 1 year program. And after 1 year program, we conduct another post assessment to see what are the improvement we have done. So this is what we do for corporate as a premium. So this way, over some time we travel and see that the change is happening. Even when corporate come in, I always tell them that it is not that 6 months, 1 year we can do magic. We want corporates to come and travel with us, believe in us. Travel with these. It can be 10 schools, 20 schools, but it can be a multi-year project, and we can do phenomenal changes with that focused attempt. And that is how we are doing. Now we are trying to approach more corporates to come and support us. Thankfully, classical example like Ramco Siemens, like not just corporate funding. They work like an extended team. They work like almost like Kalvi 40 team. They travel with us. They come and visit us. They understand the problem. And they enable us with the difficulty. They go and if we have a meeting, we have the meeting in the collector office with the assembling all those teachers. So all the practical difficulties within the district also they will come and support us, which is like not expecting from every corporate. But when we do that, you have a sense of real change happening. You are part of the change, right? We want every corporate to come together and travel with us, understand what we are doing, and see the change. Take the credit. You have enabled us, and you have served those 35 schools, and which is like otherwise impossible. If you have not come and sponsored, there is no way those kids are at the last mile happy to look at those videos. So I think that is how we want more and more corporates to come in, and we want to see these kind of 1 year, 2 year program coming up. And we have been trying, and we want all those genuine people to come and support and work with us.
Okay. I want to focus on, this whole, you said the kid as a customer, right? Therefore, now that you have, implemented this in many schools, tell me some small success stories of how these kids have transformed, and talk to me. That's the final outcome, because that's really what I think is the most happiest thing, right? So therefore, tell us some examples and stories.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. So I think one of those, the beauty of technology, and especially applying in non-profit space, I think that is the biggest taste, thankfully I've got, I would say. Because generally in a non-profit organization, you tend to serve where you see the recipient, right? It can be like giving food, or, running an orphanage, things like that. The beauty of technology is like, I know that is the biggest taste. 3 months back, I get a video from a district called Kallakurchi, which is one of those, the backward districts educationally in Tamil Nadu. One kid sends a video, and that is shot by his mom, and actually he is trying to learn French. He is telling me that gracias means thank you, and what is for good morning, and things like that. He comes and talks through his video and sends us the video. So that is something, the biggest motivation what we'll get. So that is number one, because language learning, right? Even when we learn English, the most important thing is about practice. It is not about I know theory. So we were so happy that we have made him to attempt and experience that. So using technology, I do not know who he is, but he is sending us this video. This is one. During COVID time, we have been just promoting and trying to share and all that. And after that, one media channel was shooting in Coimbatore. One girl, she was like eighth standard girl, comes and tells a story that last 1 year I used to be not coming to school. I felt very aloof and all that, but I had a companion, and that is Kalvi 40. I used to be learning English every day from Kalvi 40, and last 1 year I have been very happy. I have been learning English every day. So that is something, what is something, and we do not know she has been using for 1 year and having this kind of an experience, right? Apart from the numbers, so that is something phenomenal. And then we give when we also have a program where we develop a habit of we don't like people to suddenly one day we say somebody has looked at 50 video. No, that is not we are looking at. I want people to every day spend 15 minutes, half an hour over some time, develop a habit. So we also monitor this, and when when we have a program, and if you give me evidence every day, I will send you a certificate, digital certificate, and sometime full month if you do, I give you a physical certificate. So that is something where when we give this physical certificate, it's like we send to different districts. So somebody from Chengalpattu, somebody from Tirunelveli, which is like 500, 600 kilometers and all, we send it through post. But moment you see that happiness where in the rural village, generally rural culture is like you don't get to appreciate kids that easily. So when you give the certificate in post, and that HM will call the kid in the assembly and give you that certificate, and she will send you a picture of that. And those are the beautiful experiences what we have. And teachers always come and tell that in single teacher school, like sir, I think it is like almost like an additional teacher you have given me, right? The technology is like one where they tend to play the video in one classroom while they are attending the other class, and that is how some teachers have been managing. And you can see variety of that positive words continuously in Play Store. We have got like 4.8 out of 5, and teachers give us very very different all these experiences sharing in this. I think that is the only motivation, only momentum what we get when we travel to these villages. And after all these challenges and pain, when you get into these villages and go and get to see those innocent kids and tend to work with them, the kind of happiness you get, that last milestone when we reach, and when they watch your videos and learn hearing to those stories. And sometimes it's like simple thing like origami videos we would have put, but the teacher will tell you, sir, all those 20 kids did origami experiment with those papers, and then they'll be showing you, sir, this is duck and this is like those. So all those using technology, when we are going to touch those kids and make them experience not just theory but make them experience all these, are something phenomenal. And someday I'm sure 10-20 years, I'm sure we'll do much more. But I think definitely those are someday when there's some kind of a spark we want to give them, that's confidence that you will become educated and you will never miss that. And those are the beautiful stories we tend to hear. And randomly, and somebody gives you voice, and which is like one day we were running a summer camp online, and we make kids to tell stories. We will not tell story. We will tell, for example, we'll say, Swami, we will give you one carrot, we'll give you onion. You have to tell story only with these two characters. So they will tell you some creative stories. And during this experience, after 30 days, one parent will give you some emotional audio, and she comes and tell me that, sir, in this COVID last 1.5 years, my son never even sits in a single place. But I don't know what you did. Last 4 weeks, every day he's sitting from 10 to 12 o'clock, listening to you and telling such kind of a stories. I do not know whether my son has these kind of storytelling abilities. And I think those are the beautiful stories to enable them and see them those creative things. And I think these are some sample very very positive stories which keeps us going.
Brilliant. So, so today you are in about 650 schools, is what you said, right?
Yeah, 750 schools in 26
750 schools.
districts.
And how many children do you think lives you would have, touched?
Yeah, in this, two ways. One is like using mobile app as a student. There are like, you know, students are like at least 30,000, 35,000 kids using that. Apart from this, somebody who can walk into the government school and watch Kalvi Napude, another 40, 50,000 kids can, get this experience.
So
So
close to about, so when we started, you said you got about 2.7 million kids who you wanted to influence and transform their lives, and you have touched about 1 lakh kids today, right?
yes,
So there's a long thing, long, way to go.
right.
But I think, as you said, you put the first, step ahead. That's what you said. And you talk about something very interesting, Prem. In one of the interviews that I was watching, you said this whole culture of effort and outcome. Okay, we are so used to it, so we have to get away from that. Okay, especially when you're doing a social enterprise. Okay,
Yes.
and maybe even in your corporate life you have to change this thing. So talk to me about it, because I think it's a very important point.
Yes. I think you talked about unlearning, right? I think one of those very important things. Um, I also said I think over some time it is not that anything the way Swami will think, the way Prem will think. It is only that over experience of 10, 20 years you have been carved out over years. So like that, coming from corporate, anything and everything, whether to give Swami time, whether to talk to him, everything we look at what is that I'm going to get in return, right? That is an ROI, whether I should do or not. So that kind of an habit I've developed over some time, right? So when you come here to do social work, also you tend to apply initially, do the same thing of will I get outcome, and then I realized that actually it is a social cause, and you need to really unlearn that, and not look at any single thing like immediately will I get outcome, will I will he going to be of use, will this 4 hours, no, nothing like that. So I think that is something what I've unlearned, I would say. Today, when people are really passionate, when we come to talk to us, we tend to explain and connect with them in the same way. Invariably, of somebody might be a minister, somebody might be and next house not having any power or not in big positions, but still when you are having that passion, and when you have that the ability to serve, it is that only then you need people to walk with you and try to serve. So you don't need to always apply that parameter of return and things like that. So I know that is something what I've learned. So immaterial, what we have realized is like over this journey is like, what is that you can do? It is only that effort you and me can do, right? Outcome is not in your hand, so you don't need to worry about it, right? So talking to somebody also, even from a a funding point of view, even from an implementation point of view, we tend to explain. But even after spending 1 hour, we have done justice. But after 1 hour, he would have never come back to us, and it would have been a complete waste of effort. But that doesn't matter. I think it is not. I religiously did my job of doing that with passion and explaining that someday it will come. And even if he comes and one single kid is going to get benefited, I think then we have achieved. So we are now slowly moving away from the outcome based. It is social work, and just do with passion, and be kind, and do this. That's all. I think don't worry too much about outcome, and that is what these 3 years have really taught me. And always when you do this, the kind people come and come to you automatically, and that is how we realize. I think this is something very important learning.
No, it's lovely, lovely. So, Prem, the last question that I have is, India is a very diverse country, right? You are transforming just one state, one language, one community in terms of Tamil community. But, there are so many languages in India, so many children similar.
Yeah.
How are you seeing Kalvi 40, going to other states, and there are similar such people who can help you. So if you have built a platform, I think you can take that platform to multiple languages. So do you have that dream?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I think many of my friends, last 2 3 years have been questioning. This has been a repeated question. Somebody will tell me, working in Bangalore, saying that you are looking at Tamil Nadu as a scenario and telling me the scenario. You come to many other states in North and how tough it is and how kids' situations are and all that. And even my one of my advisor used to tell me that come to Africa and come and tell me that how situation are and when are we taking there. So I think in this the most important thing is like in this journey, we should not be in a hurry to just scale up, right? Many times in a hurry to just scale up and just there is nothing like I'm not in any pressure from investor or valuation or nothing like that. So we are very very cool in terms of till as an organization, as a team, we are convinced that this is really making that change. This is really making that kid's life enable to learn. And there are we do trials lot of various that way. So we are continuously doing trials. Every quarter we have new experiences. So when we as an organization have that process confidence and clarity, we want to go and apply this template and give it to anybody for that matter. Come on, you go and apply. One of those very important things I think we tend to not give importance as a culture, right? Just because technology, I put it in English, is it like can somebody in Africa, somebody in Bihar, somebody in Tamil Nadu can learn? No. I think my own mother tongue, when I learn, right? We are looking at Kalvi Napadi, we are looking at, we want people to learn with that in a deeper way so that the original thinking comes up. We want people to deeply understand what they learn. When you want to do that, you learn in your mother tongue. And when you learn in mother tongue, my own German experience tells me that, Japan experience. So when you do that, when you learn in that, not just knowledge, not just curriculum, there is a culture involved in it, right? How a teacher teaches in Andhra, how a teacher teaches in Bihar, how a teacher teaches in Tamil Nadu and Africa is going to be very, very different. And that is what today my whole set of volunteers are passionately doing that. In Tamil, in a very simple way, what he understands, we know the culture, how we want to tell him. With that cultural understanding, I tell him and teach him. And that is how, so I think that is something what is important. So when we have all this, we will come to that. But we have to be, convinced, and we have all this process, and we will make it open source, and anybody can apply, anybody can upload, take it to your district, and definitely, when we know Tamil beautifully, Kanyan Pungandrana says, "Yadu Mure Yavrum Kelir." So I think the whole it's a global village, and everybody is my kin and kin, and every kid I see is like my own kid. So we want to serve everybody that way. We will come to that religiously when we have that kind of a process, and when we are convinced.
Brilliant. So, on that note, I want to ask you a couple of personal questions.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, so, having you know earned as a delivery manager and now doing it as a social enterprise, how do you manage the lifestyle, and how have you transformed yourself, and how does your family support you?
I think this is a very important question. I think most of my interviews, this is some being asked because a lot of I tell people that I'm a very average guy, and a lot of smart people, talented people, need to come forward to support such kind of social cause. I think one of the we work on, I will say, the toughest problem, right? We work on the toughest problem. So a lot of people to come forward. But this is not easy. I think first of all, before even talking about family, before even talking about anybody, you need to be truly convinced that this is going to be the change. You need to accept that change, and there are going to be a lot of things you need to sacrifice, things like that. So my wife used to be always asking me that. When you used to be in Germany, you would be, we used to have a lot of vacations traveling to, Switzerland, Italy, Lake Como, or going to Austria, Paris. And today I'm traveling to Ariyalur. I'm going to Virudhunagar. I'm going to Tiruvannamalai. But I think it is about happiness is within, and when you feel this is something what you are really happy about. Everything else is like probably I don't have a bigger car. I'm okay to travel in a bus and still be very happy about it. I will still travel in a very peak time, 6 o'clock, and travel with people, see how tough time they are traveling. I'm still very happy about it. No complaints, nothing like that. So that is how once you are convinced, I think things will fall in place. But definitely, the biggest sacrifice is my family. They my wife, kids, my parents, they need to leave lot of comforts and adjust to that. And I keep my needs to very limited as on date, because naturally my earnings are extremely low with this kind of an deal. So that way, I think you need to adjust predominantly. But I think happiness is within. If you are clear about what you want to do, and then I think you will find a way. And when we are doing it right for a right cause, I'm sure we will sail through. Yeah.
Great. So, what does success mean to you, Prem?
Um, Success is basically when you have understood what is truly what you are here to do, right? Each one of us has a calling. Each one of us have. If you have something like as a true goal, not for anybody else, only for yourself, you need to answer. End of your life, if you will be happy about Swami has done this all this life, and are you happy about it? If you feel you have a goal like that, and invariably of the outcome, whether you have failed or succeeded, if you have the courage to attempt, I think that itself, I feel, is the success story. Life is all about experience. All along, when you take this direction, the beauty is only about the experience. Life is an experience, and you tend to meet those experiences and enjoy this life. I think that is how I see. That is how I see as success, and yeah,
Nice.
that is how.
Nice. My next question is, what's the best piece of advice you have ever got, which you remember and which you really cherish?
This piece of advice, quite a lot. I think one of the very important things a lot of people have told me is like um, patience and perseverance, right? I think that is the most important thing in this journey. I think every day you will be tested. You will be tested, and sometimes you feel very very miserable after 3 years. Like, you have given all this, and somebody will ask you certain questions, and certain scenarios will put you down, saying that very very fundamental things. But I think when you are very clear about what is that you are running through. So people have told me that you have to be patient, and then you need to be really perceive. And I think that is the only thing I tend to nowadays look at. Nothing more. Just keep sailing with these two very very important things. Very a lot of senior people have told me. So yeah, I think that's the most important thing.
Okay. So, what would be the one piece of advice you would give to somebody who is working in a corporate today?
Sorry, I think I don't know. I'm qualified to give any advice to anybody for that matter. Actually. Okay, and I don't think anything like that. No, it is not to that level. I'm to give advice. No. But only thing I think experience, what tells me is that um, you have to have that courage to take risk and explore for yourself. Each one of us have answers within us. You need to find out what is that, and try out, take risk and try out. I think that is the only thing what I generally feel, that people tend to be in that comfort zone and not to get into uncomfortable zone. So just explore, and have courage to get out and put yourself uncomfortable. I think you will, that is the only thing I have experienced. So only thing I'm telling, and there's nothing like advice I can tell. I'm not an expert. So.
Very nice. Uh, if you were to advise a 18-year-old in a college today, and not an advice, but if you were to tell them, one thing that you would want them to, do, what would it be?
Yes, I think. Okay, I think a lot of new questions you are asking me, but I think one very important thing, right? Compared to when I was to 18 years and today when people are 18 years, the world is changing, and then we are all becoming addicted to gadgets, right? So I think one important thing is like um, that personal relationship with people around, right? That is something invariably of money, technology, anything like that. Lifelong, it is the happiness is going to come from those very important skill of how do I deal with a stranger, how do I deal with my wife, how do I deal with my family, even at tough situations. So I think 18-year-old, yes, technology, all this is okay, but they need to give importance that personal skills with people around, they need to give importance and learn that. I think that will keep them happy all along. I think that is the only thing, you know 20 years back
Nice.
now.
Beautiful, beautiful. I have never heard somebody say the importance of personal relationships for an 18-year. I think that's very interesting. And if you were to, have a dream dinner, okay, you want to have, a nice, meal, if I were to call it. Let's leave dinner. Who are the people who you want to be around in the table so that you will completely remember this as a lifelong dream of yours?
uh, I've never thought about something like this, but yeah, I think probably I'll pass this question. I think only thing I know straight away comes is like my dad is no more. So I think when somebody who who has been the inspiration for me, who has been the strength for me, and where stand today, I'm missing a lot. So probably I think he is the one. My mom and dad, being there is the only thing.
Nice, nice, beautiful. And what is one piece of advice what is one thing that you believe in that others don't agree with you?
Others don't agree with me.
You believe in, but others don't agree with you.
um, yeah, I think empathy is what I deeply believe, right? Even today, I think that is the only thing when what has given me this experience, everything I believe. I want to tell a story before I explain this. Because when as an IT guy, generally dealing with always missions or interaction with humans are very less. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a being in hospital, or I'm not serving talking to humans always. No, nothing like that. I'm with mission always. 19 years now. So generally, the human touch is always less. But naturally, I'm a person where I can just walk into the road, talk to any stranger, like my brother. I can just openly talk. So one day, like 5 years back, when I went out, I used to see a person where he has like 20 cows, a milkman, and he had problems. And so one day I just walked in, had a very casual dialogue with him, understood what is the problem. His cow died, and because of snake and things like that. I tried to help him, give him some very basic things, and he said he's into debt. I gave him certain basic things, told him basic things. I didn't do anything. I just gave him some consulting as usual, giving some verbal gyan. But after 3 months, he told me that, sir, I had a debt of like 60,000 for last 2 years, and I used to be paying every month kind of interest for that. Now I'm done with that debt. So what I've experienced is like love all these people, empathize with them, the people around you, love them, and then they do not have that kind of a knowledge and they don't have that experience, things like that. But when you get to them, they need help and come and the world is beautiful. I think when you come and interact with them and they have difficulty, and all your education is given something is basically to give them, help them. And I think that is one important thing. Empathy is very, very powerful, what I think probably we miss to realize that importance, I feel. But I think when I tell people, think, yeah, probably giving a gyan, so I don't tell people, probably kind of disagree, but I think it's something I like.
Lovely, lovely. Now that you've heard this podcast, you've seen this conversation. Uh, if I were to ask you, who would you recommend as guests for this podcast? Think of three, four names and suggest whom we should have a conversation.
Um, I think a couple of people comes to my mind. One of my UN political leader, Mr. R. Kannan, who has authored a couple of books, and then he has been with uh, United Nations for almost like 30 years. Somebody phenomenal experience. He has got variety of experience. He's one of my mentors and very close. So he is something who can give very interesting perspectives. Number one. Number two, environmentalist, full-time environmentalist. He's based in Coimbatore. He has sacrificed his life like 15, 20 years. He has worked for environment. But environment is something like climate change. Environment is something like in the in the paradigm. It is not that easily people understand, and it is nice to have. You will come after 20 years, but somebody who has sacrificed 20 years, 15, 20 years, and somebody like him, Kovai Sadasivam, he's a writer. He's like 16 books he has written. And another person Arivarasan, he did his engineering from Anna University, very famous institute in Tamil Nadu, top ranking university. He passed out in 2009. After that, completely 12 years, he has deep delved into visiting government schools and teaching them science, making them curious about science. He has touched nearly like couple of lakhs of students. He physically visits schools, but problem is all these Kovai Sadasivam, Arivarasan, all these people are like, when you work for the community, for the society, society doesn't take care. Society doesn't think of you. Society doesn't think about what happens to you. So there are a lot of people like that, and you being very unique in terms of bringing these kind of thought process to public, putting spotlight on these people. I'm so thankful because not many would do that, and we remain in this hidden world of what we try to do, and we don't have time to go and look for spotlight, and we definitely do that. So when you do something like that, these are some genuine people who are given their life for things. So I think these are some people immediately comes to my mind. Yeah. So
Fantastic, fantastic. Thanks, Prem. It was a conversation that touched my heart. It made me visualize what goes through in these remote areas. The children's faces. The children's faces came to me. The work that you do without expecting anything in return, and you are saying that this change will take a generation. Not many people have this. It's very easy to have a long term vision, but living a long term vision every day in the short term is not easy. And thanks a lot. It was a phenomenal conversation. It was a phenomenal conversation, and it transformed a lot of my own thoughts, and it was fantastic. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. I think Manergu Manakam. So thank you so much for this opportunity. First of all, Swami and ContraMinds. Lot of very important question, and where lot of interviews I've attended. Never people have asked me all these questions, and it made me think. Very interesting, and not this level of depth people have gone and asked. So very happy, and I think very humble to be here. I think with your expertise and a lot of variety of experience, I'm sure not nothing is new for you, but I think thank you so much for the opportunity, and so thankful for where we stand and all this beautiful opportunity and kind people watching here, and always request for them to support wherever they are. Some non-profit give hand and support. So thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.